Welcome to week 3 of Bible Studies for Life. Hey, it's Christmas story time. Okay, we're right there now. This Sunday will be Christmas, the Sunday right before Christmas, and then the next week you'll have our celebration. So we're looking forward to, and today we go to the Christmas story. And for that, we're going to go into Luke chapter 2, and excited about that. Hey, before we get any farther, just reminding you to subscribe to our channel, like, share it with others. Appreciate that as we heading into the new year of 2022 coming up soon, trying to get to 500 subscribers, So anyway, follow us and watch every week. Thank you for doing it. I really appreciate that. All right, Luke chapter 2, let's go. And Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family line of David, to be registered along with Mary, who was engaged to him and was pregnant. Okay. In Matthew, we've gotten kind of the story, right, from Joseph's side. In Luke, we get kind of the story from Mary's side, maybe a little bit more. But we see the things that are common, right? Okay, they're married. She's pregnant. They're going now. They have to go to Nazareth. They have to go from Nazareth to Bethlehem because there's been a census that's been required. Okay, I just want to say this is not what either one of them, I'm sure, what either one of them expected. It's not how they planned to spend this time of their lives. She is very pregnant. They didn't want to travel, but they had to travel. But that's the way life is. And life does not always meet our expectations. And certainly this was not what they had expected would happen. They're having to travel now. They didn't want to travel. They have to go, so they go, right? And not where they planned on spending this time together, okay? And we know what happens, of course. They can't find any place to stay, right? They end up staying in a stable, basically. They stayed where they didn't want to stay. Joseph's doing everything he can to try to make this good. And man, sometimes that's the way life is, right? You do all that you want to try to make it good and trying to make a situation really a great situation, but sometimes it just doesn't happen the way we want to. While they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And then she gave birth to her firstborn son, and she wrapped him snugly in cloth and laid him in a feeding trough because there was no room for them at the lodging place. And in a hospital, I couldn't find any place even indoors. Nobody would make any space for them. They were unwelcome. Unwelcome. So they end up here in this stable, a cave, most likely. And they're laying their baby in a feeding trough. In spite of everything that Joseph was trying to do. Right? Remember, he's trying to do right. He's a good man. He's doing right by Mary. He's doing all he can. But where Jesus was born was unsanitary and unhealthy. It was not what he planned, right? But listen, just because life doesn't happen the way you want it to, does not mean that God is not at work, because God is at work here. She gave birth to her son, Jesus, right? Wow. The angel appears to the shepherds. Now, I think when we think about how this is going to happen, right, when Jesus is going to be born, we expect announcement, right? Big announcement, huge announcement. The Son of God has been born. Now we're finally getting what we thought would happen, right? We get a whole chorus of angels making an announcement. It says, the angel said to them, "Don't be afraid, for look, I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Today a Savior, who is Messiah the Lord, was born for you in the city of David. And this will be the sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped snugly in cloth and lying in a feeding trough." Okay, the angelic announcement we expected, but not like this, right? We didn't expect this kind of announcement because, look, it's going for, good news of great joy for all the people. We didn't expect that. All the people? Everybody? That was not what the Jewish nation, the Jewish teachers thought was going to happen. Thought it would be for the Jews alone, right? 23 times in the first 2 chapters of Luke, we have the words all, entire, or every. Okay? 23 times. You think Luke, which is oftentimes we think of the gospel for the Gentiles, is making a very clear presentation to us that Jesus came for the world, not just for a certain group of people. And I tell you what, we are easy and happy to say that about the Jews, right? They need to know that he didn't just come for them, he came for all of us. But sometimes we struggle in understanding that it doesn't just mean the Christians either. He didn't just come for us, he came for everybody. So those who are not yet Christians, we need to seek to get them to become Christians. He came for those who aren't us as much as he came for us. So we need to share the gospel with all of them, right? And certainly I don't think they expected that when he says, look, we've got good news of great joy for everybody. We've got the Messiah. Today the Messiah was born and he's a baby wrapped in a feeding trough? What? Is a baby, not a warrior king, not a soldier wrapped in cloths, not in a royal robe, laying in a feeding trough? What do you mean? He's not in a palace? I don't think this is how they expected it, right? And then it came to shepherds, right? To shepherds. I mean, these were the outcasts. It came to shepherds. In many ways, they were not allowed to participate in the religious community. These were typically people who weren't trusted. They were ceremonially unclean. Their work made it almost impossible for them to go through everything they would have to go through to become clean, to participate in things that happened in the temple. These people were outcasts, often thought of as thieves. And this is who gets the announcement. I mean, it's the announcement we expect in the sense of a whole host of angels, right? The angelic host. But it comes to a people we didn't think it would, and the announcement is in a way that we just didn't think it would. But that's God's way, isn't it? That's God's way. Our ways are not his ways. All right. So they hurried off, and they found both Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the feeding trough. And after seeing them, they reported the message they were told about the child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. You know what I like about this? Man, they went to go see, right? They had to go see what was going on. Is this true? And they get there, and after seeing them, this is what I like, after seeing them, they reported the message they were told about the child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. They weren't reporting this to Mary and Joseph. They were reporting it to everybody else that they went to go talk to after they saw Jesus. Then they went and told people. They had a message. They had other people needed to know about this. But Mary was treasuring up all these things in her heart and meditating on them. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had seen and heard, just as they had been told. You see, they left to go tell people about Jesus. And then they came back, glorifying and praising God for all they'd seen and heard, just as they had been told. They were they're overjoyed. It's just coming out of them, right? It's pouring out of them. It was not their normal way. These were not the people you would expect to behave this way, but these are the people that God had told. And look, this is not the way we thought God would do it. It's not how we expected it to happen. Life does not often go like we hope or expect it to. Most times life goes off the rails, doesn't it? At some point we lose control, don't we? That doesn't mean God is not at work. And that doesn't mean that God is not accomplishing his purposes just because it's not happening like we thought it would. And boy, I like this. Mary was treasuring up all these things in her heart and meditating on them. I think you see this being lived out through the life of Jesus. Throughout the life of Jesus, you see Mary watching and listening and taking note, mental notes, writing things down, whatever, remembering all these things that Jesus had done. And the shepherds came back, and boy, they were excited. Hey, that ought to be the way we are, isn't it? When we come in to worship, we ought to be worshiping. I think it helps us in our worship if we've been out telling people. If we've spent some time the week before telling people about Christ, it makes our worship a little bit better on Sunday. Honestly, And these guys had gone and they told people. They came back. They were excited. They were excited. Hey, I hope that helped as you study and prepare this week. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment. Let us know how God's using it. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time. Bye.